Oh god, people are gonna hate me for this. Alright, this is gonna be possibly one of the most weirdest video I make, but I think it has to be done. Today, I am going to predict the F1 2022 season. So the season's right around the corner. I think it's going up on the week of the Bahrain testing phase, and this is before Drive to Survive comes out, and then the week after that is going to be race weekend. So I decided to put out my predictions now and see how wrong I will be by the end of the season. So this is going to be quite an interesting experience. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully you guys will also add your input down below in the comment section down below. I want to begin by saying this is going to be an exciting season. Regulation changes galore, whole new car, new chassis, new aerodynamic packages whatsoever. So this is going to be possibly a clean slate that all teams are working on. So my predictions are going to be a little wild sometimes, and you will see as you guys look through this video how wild my predictions can be. Before we begin all of this, I want to start by looking at the 2021 results. Of course, that is going to be a benchmark of the ambitions and also what goals teams are going to set. So if you guys take a look, I would say the biggest shocker, the biggest surprise out of all the cars that finished in 2021 is Aston Martin. I think after 2020 with the whole brake gate, or the pink Mercedes case, where back then they were called Racing Point, used Mercedes parts or unlisted Mercedes parts in their car, and they essentially copied Mercedes. I think they succeeded in being a top 3 team because of that, or top 4. I forget what place they were by the end of the season, but it's because of the Mercedes engineering, and you can tell that it all went out the window as they finished 7th in 2021. Now heading into 2022, this is going to be exciting. So I'm going to jump straight into my predictions for the constructors by starting at number 10 and then going up to number 1. And I would say my biggest shocker will come around the midfield and maybe even at the top, but you'll see. So let's start at number 10. Who do I think will who will finish bottom of the table in the constructors? I would say Alfa Romeo. I think Alfa Romeo are a very good basic team. They do well, and I think with the Dreiner lineup between Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas, I'm sure they will do well, but I don't think they have shown enough at this time. I may be completely wrong, but Alfa Romeo's car doesn't look anything out of this world, doesn't look so exciting, so to say, and I think they're just going to maintain the pace that they had in the past season and in the end finish back marker. I think their car is still not going to be good enough to compete with the midfield, and despite having Valtteri Bottas, who's driven for Mercedes and has brilliant pace at times, I don't think they're going to be able to compete with a car of their caliber. The car is going to matter a lot as well, and if the car can't perform up to the standard of the driver, I don't think they're going to score many points. And also with a new rookie like Zhou Guanyu coming through, I don't think he's going to really get the season started running with some points. I think he's just gonna fight for some back marker or midfield, rear midfield cars. Then going up to number 9, I think this might be a little shocker to you, but considering the recent trend, I think Aston Martin will finish 9th. That is mainly because I think ever since the pink Mercedes case, Aston Martin just don't have a plan for the car. I think the leadership is a little problematic at the team as well. With Otmar Szafnauer leaving as well, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle keeping Aston Martin alive in the midfield. They struggled last season, and I think this season as well, they will struggle to stay in the midfield to some degree. There are rumors floating that Aston Martin have a very strong helm, meaning that the engineers can't really develop freely. So there's a lot of control coming down from the father, Papa Stroll, and it's really affecting the team. And I think that's kind of visible to some degree last season when Aston Martin just couldn't bring enough developments, enough good developments, and it had to get signed off by the top. And with Otmar Szafnauer, who I think was the brain behind most of the development packages and also the spirit of the team, seeing him leave Aston Martin and move to Alpine, I think they are going to struggle. P8 now, going up the ladder one more step, I think is actually going to be Alpine. Otmar Zafnauer coming into Alpine is going to be a good move for them, but I don't think Otmar is going to really shine in season 1. I think he's going to struggle a bit, and also the team has to, get gel together really. And from the small few clips from testing in Barcelona that I saw, I just didn't get the wow factor from Alpine, and I think they're going to struggle early doors with the season. And once you lose grip a certain way into the season, it's going to be hard to catch up, even if you have like a brilliant second half. So despite I think Alpine will struggle at the start of the season, start to gel around, I'd say like Silverstone, maybe just before that, maybe in Austria. I think they're starting to gel there and then have a strong end to the season, but I don't think they're going to have enough momentum to see them up higher in the table, and that's why I put them in P8. Now coming up to P7, I would say Williams will do well this year. I think they've looked good in the later half of the season, brought very good upgrades, and they were starting to gel together and really boost the car up to standards. And I think Williams will be able to pull off a stellar drive this season. Also with the influx of passion from Alex Albon, who is known to be good. Like, I feel bad for Alex Albon in his Red Bull time. Like, he was a pretty good driver. He just got some unlucky shunts here and there, and also didn't score as many points as Max Verstappen and didn't really support him as much as Sergio Perez did. But I think Alex Albon is still a very talented driver with good experience in F1, and I think Williams did very well to secure his signature. And him paired up with Latifi, who I think people just don't respect him as much. I think he is a respectable driver. He's done quite well here and there with George Russell. Being paired up with Alex Albon, I think they will be a solid pairing and will score some points throughout the season, maybe solid P6, P7, P8s maybe throughout the season, and I think that will be enough to secure P7 for Williams. And I think their car is looking promising as well. I think from the testing at Barcelona, I would say they've had some good moves made, like good packages brought in already. But of course, we don't know how the cars will look when Bahrain comes around. We'll probably see maybe completely different cars, but I think Williams are on the right track. Now in P6, this is going to be a shocker to some of you, but I think Haas will make it to P6. I think they're going to enter the midfield after sacrificing all of last season. So the 2021 season, if you guys didn't know, I'm sure most of you already knew, Haas decided to throw away the season and not develop the car at all and focus on the new 2022 car with the regulation changes and the new car design. And at Barcelona, we already saw some massive changes to the Haas and how well developed it is compared to the other cars. And I think having put in all that effort all of last season into this new car, if they don't get midfield, that is going to be a huge letdown. And I think the bare minimum they're going to strive for is the midfield. So P6, I think, is a reasonable expectation for the team, and I think they will try to achieve it. And with Mick Schumacher driving well last season, I want to see him drive with a car that has been developed. Last season, I think it's just Mick Schumacher driving his best, and with a poor car, as I mentioned earlier, if the car doesn't perform up to the standard of the driver, they're going to struggle. And I think that was a prime example. Haas was a prime example. And with a developed car now, I want to see if Mick Schumacher can actually put in some decent lap times and actually secure some points, which I think they can with the car of their caliber now. And yeah, it will be a huge letdown. I say again, huge letdown if Haas don't get in the midfield. Also, one other thing about Haas is that the second driver, we don't know who it'll be. Mazepin is now out of the team, or announced that he's out of the team with the whole Ukraine-Russia crisis, or the war. So we're gonna have to see who's gonna be the second driver in that car. Right now, rumors are floating that Fittipaldi might be it, but then again, Günther Steiner did come out, I think, and said that Fittipaldi is considered for testing, but not the second seat. So we're also hearing news that Magnussen might return to Haas. We also have Hülkenberg joining the fray as well from the fans, I think. And then we also have other drivers like Callum Ilott from the F2 series in question as well. and a variety of others. But right now, with Haas looking for options, I think they will still be good enough with a second driver to score some solid points and make it into P6. So P5 now, we're coming up into the top half of the table. I would say AlphaTauri will have another solid season in the midfield. Gasly has done brilliantly, and Tsunoda did have a decent rookie season, and now that it's his second season, I think he's going to start turning it up a notch. And of course, AlphaTauri do have some, upgrades that they will bring in before Bahrain comes around. I think that they will have a solid enough race throughout the season to score some podiums even at times and secure enough points for P5. I mean, they're already on the up. Pierre Gasly has developed brilliantly after his fall down from Red Bull back to Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri, and I think he's going to have another brilliant season. I would assume that Pierre Gasly could get a couple podiums this season, maybe 2 or 3. So I hope to see AlphaTauri really push it up the table here. Now in number 4, this is going to be an interesting one because the next 4 cars I think will really fight amongst each other. I think it's going to be tight between the next 4, maybe even the next 2, and then the top 2 will be tight, but I think you guys are kind of knowing where this is going. So I think P4 is going to be Ferrari. I think Ferrari have done interesting jobs with their aerodynamic packages. You saw that nice little concave, kind of like dipped side pods, and while I think it is impressive, I don't think Ferrari have that momentum to get to the top yet. Leclerc, Sainz are brilliant drivers for the team. I think they're going to drive well and have a decent record throughout the season, but I think the car is not really, prepared for that challenge to challenge the title. I think the car is still going to be a little underdeveloped compared to the other front runners, and at times I think they're going to struggle to fight against other cars, and we'll see. I might be completely wrong with this, but I think Ferrari are going to struggle this season to get into the top 3 at least. P3 is McLaren. McLaren have been on the up, and I think with Lando Norris becoming like a professional now, his rookie years are over, I'd say, because he's been performing brilliantly, and with Daniel Ricciardo gelling with the car now after his first season with them, I think they're going to have a decent result this year. I think the team is well gelled. The relationship between the drivers and Zach Brown seems to be very solid, so I think the communication between them is going to be good enough to really develop the car in the best interest of the drivers as well as the team. So with a strong teamwork in the group, I think it's going to be a really strong team vying for a lot of points. I think they could get a couple podiums this year, maybe a double podium inbound again, just like Monza last year, where Daniel Ricciardo got P1 and Lando Norris got P2. Who knows? I think it's going to be, I think McLaren are going to have marvelous weekends and secure enough points to essentially get P3. So the final 2 are going to be, as you guessed it, Red Bull and Mercedes. Which team will get the top position and which one will get P2? So I would say this is going to be a bold prediction. I'm going to predict that Red Bull are going to win the Constructors and Mercedes are going to get P2. Now, why do I say this? Well, mainly because after Max Verstappen's victory last season, under precarious circumstances, you could say, it was a very interesting end to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix that a lot of fans are still talking about, but I think Red Bull are going to strive for perfection this season. They're going to try to push the limits of the aerodynamic packages, the chassis packages, all of the development, and try to push against Mercedes to win this and secure the constructors' standings. Now you may say Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton are a league ahead of Sergio Perez, teammate of Max Verstappen, of course, but I think Perez is going to work harder this year with the car. His first season's over pretty much, so he's probably gonna feel more at home with Red Bull now. So I think Perez will pull off some good results this season and secure a lot of points for Max Verstappen. The only thing that Perez struggles on really is the qualifying sessions. Just like me in F1 2021, Perez just doesn't perform during qualifying sometimes. Like oftentimes we've seen him out of position, down like in the bottom 10 sometimes, and maybe towards the back half of the top 10. So if he secures a decent number of top 4 positions for the team, they're gonna have a decent time in protecting Max Verstappen's championship title, but also securing a lot of points for the constructors. So what Red Bull really need to strive for are double podiums with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez sharing the top 3 spots, and also trying to get the fastest lap, of course. One thing about Red Bull as well, I think Newey is onto something. That side pod design, the unique side pod design, I think has been thought out very carefully and will play a huge role in securing Red Bull a constructor's title. So I think he's onto something. He's going to work on it, and I think there's a huge chance that something big is going to happen from Red Bull. And then, of course, Mercedes will get P2, mainly because I think Russell is going to struggle a little in that second seat. I think he is a decent driver, not even decent. I think he's a brilliant driver, and he's going to battle Hamilton a lot sometimes. And I think with that kind of battle between Russell and Hamilton, I think Mercedes might struggle a bit. Now, Toto Wolff and Hamilton have a strong understanding. They're the strong power couple, so to say, rivaling Christian Horner and Max Verstappen. But I think Mercedes are just going to fall slightly behind. It might be mind games as well, but Mercedes, Toto Wolff did come out and say that Mercedes power unit might not be the fastest. In fact, it might be Ferrari's power engine. You know, it just doesn't show promising signs that the Mercedes car will be fast. Of course, it's all mind games probably, but still hearing that news and also seeing the times set by the cars during the testing season in Barcelona, I think Mercedes might struggle. But of course, I say struggle, but I think it's going to be the tightest of races again this season. I think the Constructors is going to go down to the last day, and I'm sure Russell and Hamilton will be fighting for those podiums just like Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez will. Now, with the Constructors in mind, I think I'm just going to say the top 5 in the driver standing, which I think is an important part of the whole discussion. And I would say, starting from P5 going up to P1, I could see Lando Norris securing P5 this year. I think he's going to be a solid driver for McLaren, and I think he's going to outperform his teammate Daniel Ricciardo again this season. He's developed brilliantly over the past 2 years, and I think Zak Brown really sees a lot of potential in him, and rightly so. I think Lando Norris will put that car up in the podium sometimes, and also in the top 5 consistently. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see Lando Norris up in P5 in the driver's standing. Then in P4, I think it's going to be very tight between the top 4, separated by probably marginal points, maybe within 10 points each. I think George Russell again, very solid driver, but I think he's going to take some time to get used to the Mercedes car. He's a rapid driver. We already know that from the one time he drove the Mercedes car when Lewis Hamilton came down with COVID-19 and had to be replaced, and George Russell has stepped well into his shoes, and he was rapid that race. But I think this year he will drive well enough to secure P4, just under Perez. As I mentioned, I think he's going to get used to the car and perform better during qualifying sessions to secure top 4, maybe even top 3 oftentimes, as I mentioned during the constructor standings section. And I think he's going to do enough to support Max Verstappen throughout Grand Prix races. And that, I think, will bring him enough points. Now, the big debate is, of course, the final 2 positions, P1 and P2. And I say again, this is going to be very tight, and I think it's going to be very, 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 very down to the wire when it comes to securing the title. And I'm gonna bring Max Verstappen to P1 and Lewis Hamilton to P2. I think Max Verstappen is going to be very hungry for securing the title. He's going to be hungry to protect it, and he is going to definitely battle Hamilton to the end of the world to keep that P1. I think the team is prepared to do that. I think Christian Horner is going to offer the team to Max Verstappen. He's literally going to support him, and I think Perez is prepared to be his wingman as well, just like last season. And I think Verstappen is going to get like 110% of the support of the Red Bull team to secure that title again. And I think that's going to outweigh the hungriness of Mercedes and help Max Verstappen secure P1. But I think it's going to be very close with Lewis Hamilton in P2. I think Mercedes are going to struggle a bit Red Bull are going to have a stellar start to the season. Again, I think it's going to go down to the last race once more, and I think Hamilton is going to bring it to Max Verstappen and give us another exciting final race, but fall short on the last day and secure P2. This is just my prediction. This is just wild, like out of the blue grabs, because we still don't know much about the current 2022 cars. We've seen a lot of cars that have developments brought in. Other cars were underdeveloped, probably to sandbag at the Barcelona testing, not to give away too much. But I am excited to see how this season unfolds. Bahrain is coming around the corner, and I have to say I'm really excited for this season. But again, these are my thoughts, my opinions, just from the information we know and from previous experiences and what we've seen last season. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I may be completely wrong, and again, this is just a prediction video, of course, so I would love to hear what your thoughts are for the 2022 season. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here's to a brilliant 2022 season. Hopefully we're in for a good ride. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe using the red button down below, and also follow me for more racing game content, uploading F1 2021 videos every day, driver career mode, and my team. So please do check those series out as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for your time. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay healthy. Hopefully we have a great season in F1 2022. Take care.